Max, how you doing, buddy?
We're doing good this morning. How about you guys?
I'm doing fine, Max.
We're doing fine, Max. I had a little deal I was asking Dan. I should have waited and asked you. Max, why this kicker for the Tampa Bay for Florida State went in the second round? People are giving Florida State grief. A lot of colleges here, I'm talking about the Power Five, don't give kickers scholarships. I think that's ridiculous. I mean, it's like nobody wants a lawyer till you need one, and then nobody wants a kicker till you got to sling one out there down two. He's got to kick a 45-yard field goal. Why do kickers not get more respect? Don't tell me whether or not on the field every play, They go out there to win and lose the game. Why do kickers, one, not get drafted higher, and two, you have 29 linebackers over there. I guarantee you 5 of them can't play a lick. I want to always have me a kicker on scholarship. Why are these guys treated unfairly?
Larry, let me tell you, that's the same reason all golfers can't put out and break par. It's the same thing. When I was at Florida State, we recruited the top 2 kickers in America. And go back and check the record. That was the 2 kids that cost Bobby Bowden 2 national championships on wide right at Miami. I'm just saying, you can't tell. It's such a sight that
you can't tell in any position.
Well, yeah, you can. You tell an offensive lineman if he's going to block. You can't tell a kicker sitting out there 40 yards away, though. I mean, I got 100 stories to tell you about kickers, and that's the reason.
So you want to give a kicker a scholarship?
Well, no, I'm not saying that.
You're a wacko.
Everywhere I was, we always gave them scholarships, but I'm just telling you, there's a high percentage of those guys that particularly can't perform under pressure. They can't do it. It's a psychological thing, and we ran studies on it. We were at Florida State. I'm just telling you, there are guys out there that have all the physical ingredients. They work at practice. You stop practice. You let them kick during game situations. But when they step out there in front of 100,000 people, that's a whole different ballgame.
But, Max, you still got to have one, though. I mean, you got to have one right now.
Oh, why, sure you do. Look, we've had 2 and 3 scholarship kickers at a time. But I'm just telling you, the unpredictability is the reason behind it.
Most of them are wacko.
Well, why do you think they leave off over the
side? They're wacko. Most of them are wacko.
They stand on the side. They bounce the ball. They kick a couple in net.
Like tennis players are wacko.
Yeah, but those poor guys, they got to go out there in the games. Would you like to be his mama sitting up there in the stands in Bryant Denny Stadium, and he's running out there to kick a 45-yard field goal against LSU down 2?
Well, here's the difference. The mama should have talked him into doing something else.
But if you can make it NFL as a kicker, boy, that'd be a good job.
They get they get a lot more grief than they do credit.
Yeah, they do. Now I'm telling you guys, I've been there, done that. Here's what was ironic about all that situation we went through at Florida State. You know who coaches the kickers at Florida State? Bobby Bowden.
I remember I was with Lou Holtz, and he had a great kicker, but he couldn't ever make them. And he said, so Lou went up there too and said, why are you not making these field goals? He said, well, Coach, you make me nervous when you watch me kick. And he said, well, we got a problem because I plan on being at most of the games.
That's right. Very true. I'm just telling you. And hey, Coach, you said it right. They cause more grief than it
they're wacko.
Satisfaction.
Sure they are. You got certain sports that the people that play in those sports are wacko. Yeah. Tennis is one of them. Great tennis players. Tennis players are wacko.
You two don't appreciate a kicker good. You let me just. I would go with Max. I try to get the 2 best and take my chances. I don't want to get the 100th kicker.
Yeah, but my point in that too, Barry, is the fact is even the best will fold from time to time in critical situations. They just do. I always related that to the great golfers. And, I mean, they got to put out on a big tournament, and at the end, and they can't make it. It's a psychological thing, I believe.
I would give J.K. Scott 2 scholarships, that punter, because he flips the field. I mean, how important is a punter?
Yeah. To me, I'll be honest with you. The punting situation is so critical because you put them in different field positions.
Sure does.
And I think
a lot bigger than people realize.
Yeah, it really is, Coach. I'm telling you.
Coach Saban does a good job of talking to the press and to the media, and he comes out with a lot of good points.
Yep.
A lot of things that are said good. In 32 years at Alabama, there were 4 football coaches there in my 32 years. Whatever Coach Bryant told the press is not what he told the assistant coaches.
Yeah.
He told the assistant coaches, if he wanted to, a lot more than he told the press. True. I really don't know if he's telling Lane Kiffin, let's hold back on this crap you're putting or whether he is saying that as long as you don't say something that's derogatory, it's okay to do that. What's your answer on that?
Well, all you can do is take it from what he says, Coach. That's true, and I understand that same philosophy they do. But here's the difference today, obviously, than even when Coach Bryant was here, is the access to the media situation where everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody, and that's why we trying to cover a game can't go go to the beginning of practice. We don't get a chance to see. We don't see how the coaches interact with the players. We don't see all of that. So they almost have to handle it that way. I think all we can do is judge what we see in the final, in the final lesson, like at game time. We know that, and I'll go back specifically, you talk about with Lane Kiffin and Coach Saban. I didn't really believe it would work based on what we had seen of Lane Kiffin up to the time he got to Alabama. But I'll be the first to tell you, I changed my mind quickly after that first year of what he was able to accomplish with the quarterbacks. I think Coach Saban's given him a lot more leeway now than he used to. I think he's changed his philosophy on offense a little bit because it's been successful. That's why I think coming up this year is we're going to probably see a lot more change than we have in the past, mainly because of the quarterback situation at Alabama.
Well, he'd say, he just said, we really hadn't had any confrontation. But now, he didn't go as far as saying, which was smart, if we'd have had some, I'd have handled it. He didn't say that part of it, which we all probably understand. Coach Bryant's the same way. But he didn't say that. He just said, we really don't have any confrontation. He's done a good job with our team. And so he sort of left it at that. And what he says, generally speaking, is very, very good. He has a lot of sense and is able to present it in the right kind of way.
Right. Well, and I found out a little bit more after this thing started to develop. But that relationship goes way back with Coach Saban and Monty Kiffin, his dad.
Yeah.
That's where that really, I think all really got started. But the fact is the only thing we all see is, of course, when things on the sideline, the camera runs right down to him, and he'll walk over and say something to him. But, we know they got the game plan. We know that, that game plan has been okayed by Coach Saban. The execution, I think, is what he's talking to him in essence. And, he'll go over and I've seen him run the camera down and said, run the football, instead of wanting him to throw it.
Well, what happens to you is like Coach Bryant, if it doesn't work, you're mad.
Right.
I don't give a crap whether you call it a right or wrong play. That's the way Coach Bryant, and that's the way Nick said. You're mad. You just hacked off.
That is very true. And I think everybody, that sees that realize that at the point. But the end result is what the performance level is, because the coaches are responsible for what the kids do. So I think I tend to agree with him that they don't have any confrontations. It's just a matter of, when they have a game plan, Coach Saban, all he's looking at is did it work or not?
Yeah,
in one given play.
Yeah.
Well, what do y'all think he really said to Lane Kiffin in there? About the social media.
I won't get into that.
You think he got mad at him?
I don't think it's very smart, Barry. Now this is just me to let the coaches on the other teams use what Lane Kiffin said with the players. Here's what Lane Kiffin said about you. Now I understand. I'm not stupid that wears off in 10 minutes. But at the same time, when I walk out of that dressing room to go play, I'm a little bit more excited about going to play those 10 minutes than I was.
Well, here's the thing about, that kind of motivation, if that may be used that way, when it's a pregame talk or halftime. I mean, look, it's a little bit different, in my opinion, than basketball. You go out there and put your hand on the bed, somebody hits you in the mouth about 3 times, you're going to forget all of that. I can tell you. What you're doing is, you're reverting back to what you've learned from Monday to Friday and get ready for that next opponent.
Max, how important is it? Well, I know it's important. I didn't word that very well, but football teams can change from now until the first game just off of players doing things stupid during all this idle time. Guys getting caught doing this, that, and the other. getting arrested, having to handle all those things. Your football team is in the news this time of year is usually a bad thing. Where Alabama, they got so much depth. If a guy screws up, and they just put another 5-star in there. But a lot of other teams, they get thin real fast. What is the message that these coaches try to give these guys during this time that do the right thing? But football teams can really change from here to the first time they kick the ball when they don't have a ton of depth if guys don't behave themselves in the off season, can't they?
I don't think there's any doubt, Brandon. I think that's probably the biggest challenge most of them, have, in particular with today's kids coming along, where, every one of them have been told how great they are and they can do no wrong. But I think it all has to start within that philosophy. And I think that's why Alabama, I guess I'm still too way old school, but I still think you got to coach out of fear. I think you got to insist that these guys behave themselves, that they are in the spotlight. Wherever they go, they're going to be watched. And you are representing the university. There's numerous things, and I don't think you can say it enough. And I know the kids get tired of hearing it because 95% of them is going to be right and do it right and be straight about it. But you're going to have one or two of those knuckleheads along the way. They'll be at the wrong place at the wrong time. He'll have a problem somewhere in the off season that he would wish 1,000 times later he didn't. But
I think to answer Barry's question is a good question. Is that the one thing that Nick Saban has done more so than anybody is that he has let different people talk to him. Now, I'm talking about people who have been successful.
Right.
I'm talking about, hey, we're going to have so-and-so come in here and talk to you. Sure. Now, I know that I know at times that could get corny, but it doesn't with him. He's got guys that these guys, at least if they don't know who the guy is coming in, they explain to him who he is, or it's a guy who has played quarterback or done something. So I think he led the way in having. I talked to you about all I'm going to talk to you. You hear me every cotton picking day. I've had enough.
That's true.
Your position coach has told you enough. Now Joe Blow's coming in here, and I want you to listen. I think that's the difference.
I think that's a major difference, Coach. I really, and he points to those guys in the success, and 99% of the time he'll tell them these guys did it this way. This is the right way to do it, and this is what you have a chance to become. If you do so. And but I think it's a combination. I think it's the amount of emphasis you put on that, and I would have to guess, and not being on the inside of that program in Alabama, but I'd have to guess that it never lets up. I mean, they never stop talking about that. And the kids, even not only when they're on the field trying to give them 100% in practice, but also when they step off that field, they understand what the nature of that program is.
The other thing, too, I want to mention, Al Hush, is that he has guys come in and talk to him who did it the wrong way.
Yeah.
They did it the wrong way.
That's good, yeah.
And they got themselves straight. And it's not anything any better to hear somebody that did it the wrong way.
The wrong way. Yeah, that's a great point. And see, I think you've got to cover both sides, really, because you don't know what that individual kid, you think you may know him, but just remember, you got him those few hours a day, and he reverts back to the way he was raised and the things that he went through and experienced to get to that level to begin with.
Well, I think one of the things that the fans, they just look at the talent of the players. Alabama's got plenty of talent. That's not the problem. But when you lose guys like Ashawn Robinson, they said he would hold those guys so accountable, and if they weren't practicing hard, he would grab them by the face mask. You lose that. You had a vocal guy in Reggie Ragland who came through the system, came back, improved. He really loved Alabama football, what it was to put that uniform on. So he's a leader in your locker room. Then you got Derrick Henry. People talk about his work ethic. I remember Ryan Kelly was saying, hey, they were all broke for Christmas break. He said, I went and got my car. I forgot something. I went back in there to get something out of the locker room. I heard something clanging around in the weight room. I go in there. It's Derrick Henry's in there lifting weights. He wasn't going to leave for Christmas. So you lose that kind of work ethic. The players and the talent's there, but the leadership and the example, to me, that's the most difficult thing for Alabama to replace. But I think they maybe build it through what Dad was talking about, having these various people come and talk to you, and they develop some leadership skills. How important is that on any team, not just a football team?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Let me go ahead and tell you where it starts, though, guys. That you got to go back and do that complete evaluation of those kids before they get there. You got to go back and look. And I think that's where NCAA has kind of handcuffed the coaches is you're not quite able today to do all the background checks you were able to do before. But I'll tell you that with the recruiting, the system that Coach Saban has, a number of people he has to look at. Of course, they look at talent first, but they go way beyond that. They go back in. They identify those kids, in their opinion, who has, they'll have that ability to develop and become leadership. But without that, look, guys, the coaches are on the sideline in a ball game. It's what goes on on the field between every play and during the play is what really counts, and that has to be developed during practice during the week and in the year round, really.
Well, you talk about old school. I had one of my sons quit coaching with me because he thought I was too tough on him.
Oh, me. Okay.
Are you trying to say that was me? Because I'm the only son that coached with you.
Coach, I'm going to tell you now, I believe you have to agree that particularly with Coach Bryant and Coach Saban, and two of the best that ever been on the field, there's an amount of fear in there from the players and the coaches that work for them. It's just a matter of that guy's personality just demands excellence. And a lot of people, a lot of head coaches around the country don't have that, still don't have that in them. I can name a few, but I won't.
Max, I just got called out on this segment, and that's not why I left, but I've already told him that, but he hears what he wants to hear, Max.
Don't we all, Barry?
Yeah.
Well,
He's got selective hearing.
There were four coaches there, and it was so interesting for me to look back in the 32 years I was there. When you with Ray Perkins went to a press conference.
Yeah.
None of the press liked him, so they didn't listen. They didn't care. I didn't like him. I liked him.
Yeah.
Nobody else liked him. Bill Curry went. They didn't think he could coach. He could coach very, very well. They didn't think he could. Gene Stallings went. They liked him a little bit better than the rest of them.
Well, they liked him.
And then when he didn't ever throw it, they didn't like him at all.
Well, Saban gets away with all the stuff that he does and says because he's winning. If he wasn't winning, he was talking about a Coke bottle and yelling at the official, at the media and all that, they'd bury him. But when you're winning, what you gonna say? And they're scared of him. If he wasn't winning, it wouldn't be the same.
Does that not cure most everything, though, at that level?
What does it?
I mean, think about it.
It does.
If he wasn't winning, they'd say, "Oh, he's too old school. He doesn't do Twitter. The game's past him." Now it's like I respect that he's not using Twitter. He's not.
They'd be able to Barry, Max. This is to both of them. Will they be able to find a coach? I'm serious. Will they be able to find a coach to take his place?
That's tough. That's a tough question. I mean, go back and look at the record across the country. It's not the guy that follows the guy. It's the guy 2 steps down that usually can bring the program back. It's tough to follow somebody that's successful. I mean, almost in every sport, just think about it. Guys that come in behind whomever have a tough time. Now, it's
got to be a long-term contract. It's got to be a long-term contract. It's got to be a lot of money in a long-term contract.
It does that.
If you fall, you're gonna have to pay that Booger Bear a pile of money if he fails.
Very true. Now, we saw Jimbo Fisher at Florida State follow Coach Bowden, but remember he was there 5 years with Coach Bowden before he got that job. So I mean, we can go through and name some specifics that have been pretty successful after that. But overall, when they make a clean break, Coach Bowden steps away, and then they go to Ray Perkins, and we know what happens there after that for a while. But they finally get it back because I think that's the philosophy of the university, and I think that's where it all has to start. But 90% of the time, it's extremely hard to find somebody that has that personality, has that drive, and has
what
really
happened with Alabama is that Thomas told me this Sunday morning when he's going to hire Bill Curry that he wanted to change. I shouldn't say this. He wanted to change from an Alabama person, and it wasn't good. Bill's a wonderful guy and a good football coach and a great person, but they couldn't handle a guy who had never beaten Auburn, so they changed back with Beebs.
Yep. Well, I think there's so much that goes into that, and every situation is different to some degree, but generally, that guy that follows the guys that's done the best, the next guy in line just doesn't quite usually live up to that expectation.
All right, Max, tell us about those websites you got rolling.
Oh, man, I tell you what, Game Day Bama is just booming. In fact, I'm working in Alabama this coming week. We've got 2 or 3 bigger camps coming up, and we're excited. It's a free site for people that want to blog. If you want to get on there and do a podcast for us, we'll be more than happy to take that. GameDayBama.com is the one over in Mississippi. We got Game Day Rebels and Game Day MISS.com. And all I can tell you, we're up for 4,000 to 5,000 followers now, and we shoot for 10,000 by Media Day.
All right, Max, we'll talk to you later on this week. Be nice to the kickers. You need a kicker.
I find one.
They're wacko. They're a wacko.
We'll coddle him right up to him, put him on the field.
Yeah, then he'll miss it.
Yeah. Thanks, Max.